7 lanes have been shut down, and as you have seen, it is I'm going to stand up and walk over to the television monitor here so I can see it a little closer. But again, we're counting 7 different lanes, and right now they're not going anywhere. The only person who is going anywhere is our intrepid Doug Richards, who is now making his way onto the freeway. Last time we saw you, Doug, you were below it. Why don't you tell us where you are now?
All right. Hey, Jeff. It turns out we're on the shoulder of Interstate I-75 and 85 now. Over in the distance, you will see folks who are blocking the highway. As Crash Clark, I think, said, 7 lanes of highway.
Our picketing friends are all Caucasian up front.
And what's interesting is that there was an organizational element, Jeff, to answer your question, where they asked the folks they asked the white people who were part of the protest to go up on the highway and to be at the front of the protest. And as we go up here, we see that most of what I see anyway is most of the folks who are blocking the highway are white folks. And the thinking behind that was by the organizers that the police would be less likely to confront white people than they would if black people did block the highway. So
how diverse, Doug, can you hear me?
And it seems to be working.
How diverse is the group of protesters tonight?
You know, I was looking at that earlier. I would say it's probably 80% black folks, but you know, there are hundreds of white people here. So, and they're enthusiastic and they want to help. And so when they were called upon to be in the front, not all of them went, but there are enough of them out there now to block the highway.
And
and most of those, yes, absolutely.
My other question for you is,
the majority of folks out there are white.
As I take a look at these pictures, Doug, what sort of law enforcement presence do you see? We see a number of APD lights that are flashing, at least in the pictures that we're seeing here at 11 Alive and that viewers are seeing right now. But on the ground, what sort of law enforcement presence are you seeing? And I'm going to ask you to compare and contrast to what you've seen over the course of the last week and 2 weeks, if you would.
Well, mostly it's been Atlanta police that I've seen here. On the highway, it's Georgia State Patrol and some other state police. But the few, you know, there really haven't been that many police officers in the neighborhood. Most of them have been blocking the highway, and you see a lot of state police blocking the highway. You also see military trucks blocking the highway. It appears that either the National Guard made a return visit, or some police agencies that have military trucks were also called in to help block the access points to the interstate. So,
Doug,
anyway,
I have a couple of questions for you.
Mostly Atlanta police, though, until you get onto the highway, and then you see state police.
And Doug, I'm seeing some reports on social media. I don't know from your vantage point what you can and can't see, but have you seen officers make any arrests at all since you've been there?
I haven't seen any arrests. We saw the confrontation that we talked about a little while ago, where some, you know, smoke bombs were exploded and some bottles were thrown. I didn't see any arrests. There may have been one, but I didn't see any. I haven't seen any arrests. You know, I mean, for the most part, the police are being very restrained. I mean, the fact that they haven't opened the highways and don't appear to be making a move to open the highways, I think is a good gauge of the restraint they're showing at this point.
Right, and we've seen the military vehicles move in onto the interstate there. Have you seen any of the National Guardsmen walk out of those vehicles and get into formation, or anything of that sort?
No, the police formations have been pretty haphazard, I think. They're, no, there hasn't been any sort of like oh, wait a minute. Well, here we go now. Now a MARTA bus is unloading what appear to be riot-clad What are those? Those appear to be those Atlanta police officers.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
what we're
those are
seeing
Atlanta
here,
police officers.
we're seeing officers in what looks like riot gear getting out of that MARTA bus right now. Lots of them.
Yeah, they're coming off of a MARTA bus. They are facing in the wrong direction on the northbound lanes of I-75. There are probably about 60 of them there, and it's unclear where they are going.
How are
But
protesters reacting to them coming out
But the
off of
folks
that
who are,
bus?
actually, the highway is not being blocked on the side of the road that they are on, which is the northbound side. In order for those folks to be effective against this blockade, they will need to cross this berm here and get on the southbound lanes.